I should have named my title Prosecutor Cheats, but we all know Douglas Hanson is a cheater. The more people I could get to follow my story, the better it is for me, quite obviously. So I hope that you guys are in fact sharing the information as I put it on there, because I'm going to fully explain. I should have named the facts, and I like to look at it to see how it looks out there to Facebook and Twitter and my LinkedIn. Obviously, my LinkedIn ain't getting up to date with it, so that's something that I gotta probably reach out to one of you. My Twitter, Instagram, everything is a check. YouTube channel. Just check my YouTube channel. Make sure everything is working. Yes, it is. Everything is up and working. So, preliminary hearing. Preliminary criminal hearing process and procedures. So, this right here is where I started my complaint. My whole complaint is based upon the rules of a preliminary hearing, which I did not get from Carrie Wineland or Douglas Hanson, and we're going to just go ahead and expose the truth and put the paperwork out there so that people could see it. But we also want to read the law. We also want people to understand that Douglas Hanson played by his own rules. He don't care for people. He don't. He really don't. I can't say that enough to people. If Douglas Hanson was harming your family and was making you out to be this pedophile and making you out to be a sex offender, ruin in your life and stopping you from living places and finding work and this, that, and the other, you're gonna fight too. No one wants to have that title, and he was better off, Doug. You was better off just charging me with a delivery charge. If I probably wouldn't have even looked as deep as I did into this, because it would have been something that I could have dealt with and got over, and you would have probably just stuck it to me with that one, right? But since you chose to put on record that I was a pedophile and that I'm a sex offender and that I got these sexual problems and that I'm a danger to the community and the community should be aware of me, my schools and all that. That's something hard to deal with as a man, a human being. So let's just get into this. In any felony case, an arrest or criminal complaint, it is not enough. You hear that? In any felony case, an arrest or a criminal complaint is not enough to require a defendant to stand trial for the crime. Shortly after arraignment, the courts must conduct a proceeding, a preliminary hearing on grand jury proceedings, whether the state is required to present enough evidence to establish probable cause to believe that the defendant committed the crime. The defendant cannot be required to stand trial unless the prosecutor can present significant evidence to charge the defendant with the felony. For information on related topics, see what is probable cause hearing. So we're going to, at a preliminary hearing, a judge hears the state evidence and decides whether there is significant evidence to require the defendant to stand trial. The defendant is not required to present evidence but may choose to do so to rebut the allegations against the defendant. If the evidence is not significant to establish probable cause, the judge must dismiss the case. Some states use the grand jury proceedings as an alternative to the preliminary hearings. The prosecutor presents evidence to a grand jury made up of members of the public. Present no judge is present, but the grand jury is instructed to review the evidence according to the probable cause standard and determine whether there is significant evidence in the grand jury. If the grand jury finds probable cause, the state issue an indictment against the defendant and it must stand trial for those charges. Now let's get deeper into this, and we're gonna tie my case into this because that's what I do. Is I take my evidence that I got and I tie it into why people should lean towards me more than siding with Douglas Hanson. It's basically me and him is running for a seat, and we don't want Douglas Hanson to be the president because he's going to get rid of the Obamacare. He's going to get rid of everything. He's going to tear down the wall. He's going to do everything. And I'm saying if people allow me to tell the truth, we can stop Douglas Hanson. We can put a stop to Douglas Hanson and the rest of his political corrupted party who's making personal choices to keep Douglas Hanson safe from these violations. Now, when does a preliminary hearing occurs? When does a preliminary, and there's 3 pages to this, and I'm gonna read it all. So, if a defendant is arrested and held in custody, a preliminary hearing must occur within a certain number of days, or the defendant must be released from custody. The United States Constitution and state constitution, as well as criminal rules of procedure of state courts, provide that a defendant can be held only a limited of time only a limited time on the basis of an arrest and criminal complaint. In order to the court, in order for the courts to continue holding a felony defendant in custody, the courts must conduct a preliminary hearing within the amount of time prescribed by state law and issue a formal charging instrument, something referred to as a criminal information. If the preliminary hearing is not conducted within the time prescribed, the defendant must be released. If the defendant has been released on bail or recall, the courts can conduct the preliminary hearing at a later time. However, the preliminary hearing must occur within a reasonable time after arrest. An unreasonable delay violates the defendant's constitutional sixth, what? Y'all know, Sixth Amendment. Sixth Amendment. Nope, that's the wrong page. Sixth Amendment right to a speedy trial. If the defendant is arrested or charged in a criminal complaint and the prosecutor office of the court does not schedule the preliminary hearing until months later, the case can be dismissed because of the delay. The judge must review the circumstances of the delay and determine whether the delay was reasonable and therefore violated the defendant's constitutional rights to speedy trial. That's why they asked Douglas Hanson, how we doing on the 60 days, Hanson? And let's cause you know me, I don't like lying on these people. I like to put their evidence out there. Put it out there on the record.
Your Honor, a man called Matthew Johnson, 14C42686. He is present out of custody, Your Honor. My client posted security and was released. At this time, I'd like to request that this case be sent over to July 30th at 1:30. I did send a request for, looks like there's a great deal of discovery, electronic discovery. In this case, I believe a search warrant was written for some cell phones, laptop computers. I've asked Mr. Hanson to provide copies of all that, and hopefully you've got an email in your file, Gene, but I'm looking to get forensic copies of the hard drives and whatnot, so that's the reason I'm asking for a somewhat lengthier shutdown than normal.
July 30th.
Johnson.
This is 14C42686, State versus Matthew Johnson. And this is on for Rule 7 today, Ms. Wineland.
That's correct, Your Honor. We'd like to set this over to June 10th. We've waived prelim and continue to waive prelim.
Lies. How?
How are we doing on the 60 days, Mr. Hanson?
I think we'll be prepared to address that at our next court date.
See how we doing on the 60 days, Mr. Hanson? There should not be had been a delay in waiving my preliminary hearing rights, but they did that. What happens at a preliminary hearing? And remind you, why Carrie Wineland is my attorney, I have this information. I know what a preliminary, I'm forced out of jail. I'm able to research my case. I'm able to do what her help wasn't able to do for her, for me, So what happens at a preliminary hearing? A preliminary hearing is someone like a mini trial. The prosecutor can call witnesses to testify and present physical evidence or documents and recordings evidence to show that the defendant likely committed the crime. A preliminary hearing usually is not as exhaustive as criminal trial, and the prosecution likely will not present all its evidence against the defendant, just enough to establish probable cause. The rule regarding what kind of evidence can be presented may be more relaxed than at trial. For instance, hearsay may be permitted. This means that the police officers can testify about what witnesses told him during interviews, and the prosecutors will be required to have those witnesses testify at the hearing. However, how courts conduct preliminary hearings are what occur in each hearing versus each state law varies with each state laws and its state's constitution. Rights to counsel at a preliminary hearing. A defendant is established to have an attorney represent him at the preliminary hearing. The defendant requests an attorney. The courts cannot If the defendant requests an attorney, the courts cannot conduct the hearing without assuring that the defendant has private counsel or appointing attorneys such as public defenders to represent the defendant, and the defendant's attorneys can advise the defendant of his rights, make arguments to the courts about whether the evidence is significant to support formal charges against the defendant, and present evidence on the defendant's behalf. Should the defendant present evidence at a preliminary hearing, and should the defendant testify, rather to present evidence Rather to present evidence and whether the defendant should testify at a preliminary hearing are questions that the defendant and his attorney must answer in each individual case. In some cases, it may be best for the defendant to simply let the prosecutor present his evidence and say very little. In other cases, however, there may be compelling evidence that show clearly that the defendant did not commit the crime or was incapable of committing the crimes, perhaps because he was out of the country or in another state when the crimes was committed, and the defendant has solid evidence to establish this Bali. In some cases, the defendant attorney, in some cases, a defense attorney and the defendant may agree to the defendant agree that the defendant should testify at preliminary hearing. For instance, the case may involve the issue of self-defense, and the defendant may be much more credible witness than the victim. This kind of decision is very difficult to make, and defendants should never choose to testify at a preliminary hearing without consulting with an attorney and exploring the marital matter exploring the matter thoroughly. One more page. Then I'm gonna take you over to this, but we got to get to this last page right here. Have to get to this last page. Criminal defense usually have the option to waive preliminary hearing, but this happened very rarely, and no defendant should do this without the advice of an attorney. If you waive a preliminary hearing, you allow prosecutor to proceed on criminal charges against you without having to present its evidence. Most likely, a competent defense attorney will recommend waiving the preliminary hearing only if evidence against the defendant was substantial or overwhelming, and waiving the preliminary hearing will benefit the defendant in a significant way. For example, if the case was a high-profile matter involving a great deal of publicity, an attorney might recommend waiving preliminary hearing in order to limit the release of information and evidence to the public. Plead before preliminary hearing. If you are arrested or receive notice that you may be charged with a felony, contact an attorney immediately. An acknowledgeable attorney can protect your rights and keep you informed throughout the preliminary hearing process. In addition, in some cases, it's possible to negotiate a plea with. So I want to talk to you guys about this. If you waive preliminary hearing, you allow prosecution to proceed on criminal charges against you without having to present its evidence. Now, this is important to me because if you paid attention to my case, I'm just not going to even worry about that no more. If you paid attention to my case, Douglas Hanson, I got to go into Douglas Hanson folder, and I got to bring up his initial plea offer. Before me even meeting Carrie Wineland, stated that I stipulated and waived preliminary hearing, right? But look at this. It says this is a plea offer from the DA. You are not obligated to accept, and your attorney will be in to discuss this. So how would these two boxes be checked off if I hadn't yet talked to my attorney? Douglas Hanson checked those off and bypassed taking my case to a preliminary hearing because he knew he didn't have no evidence. He claimed that he gave an EDP offer to my wife. So when you look at the fact that he charged my wife under an early dispositional program for lack of evidence and lack of investigation, there's no possible way that he had anything to charge me with. So him and Carrie Wineland set me up. But if you look right here, it says must stipulate or DA will seek maximum departure. of 140 months. Then he got vulnerable victim right here. What this vulnerable victim is a federal statute code which says that the state don't have to show prove age for the victim. And then right here where it says prior sanction have not deferred. Let's look what that. Let's see what that means. I know what it means, but I want to give y'all no, I don't want that. Prior sanction. It ain't letting me look it up. Prior sanction means that you had been in prison before on similar charges. This is not, I don't want to put that up there. I'll look up an Oregon Revised Statute, State Senate Bill. Give me something to read. Duties of court to insert and impose punishment. That's something. That's a whole nother thing that I will go into. We know about the violation. So it ain't gonna actually. So prior sanction mean I previously was arrested for those crimes. And you see right here in this little box right here where he give me DV grants, gang conditions, DUI, suspend my license. He also see in the original where it says sex offender for the sex offender case right here. 1,200 fines to be taken from cash seized. 20 months of that to run consecutive to count one. Register as a sex offender. So he gave me all the sex offender conditions. And when I talk about the sex offender conditions, I take you on, let you guys. Basically, I'm gonna show you what he put in my judgment. He basically threw all these codes at me. So you got me Marion County Circuit Court probation package, and he did all this by stealing away my preliminary hearing. He got to do all of this dirty work because he said that I agreed to waive away my preliminary hearing. This will bite you in your butt. I want people to pay attention to the codes in each one of your judgments. The prosecutor should in fact write down the codes on what kind of package you should have, and I will do a judgment video dealing with this. but I wanted to show you guys an example of the sex offender packet, and I think it's at the very bottom right here. Yes, it is sex offender packet. As you see, I took it and I filled it out, and I actually wrote notes on this to express why it's illegal for what Douglas Hanson did to me using my wife. He first initially did not list any victim, right? So how we go to prove this is I'm gonna go over here to my folder again, but I'm gonna go into the public defenders and I'm gonna go into Ron Channing Newich and I'm gonna click on Irene Taylor's information. I want y'all to see me clicking on that, even though crap. And what we want to do is get to the judgment. This is the 7-page type judgment, and we want to go over this because now that he stole away my preliminary hearing and he got Carrie Wineland to go aboard with it, he can basically do whatever he wants from there. And that's what Douglas Hanson had did to me. So to speed everything up, he makes me take the plea bargain. He forces me to take the plea bargain after he trials me. I want people to understand he gave me a bench trial. He trialed me. For one, this is off at the hearing proceedings. Dated 6/30/2015. That's wrong. They lying right here. Anyway, the defendant appeared in person and was not in custody. The courts determined that the defendant was indigent for the purpose of court-appointed counsel and appointment. Needed counsel for the defendant. The defendant was represented by Attorney Gail Ryder. I'm gonna show y'all my hateful judgment, and you gotta basically look at everything that Douglas Hanson did to. I never seen a 7-page judgment. I've never seen this. This was never given to me on my initial day in court, right? So what we're going to do is go down this. License suspended. Defendant's license is suspended. I, in fact, served that out. The defendant is sentenced to supervised probation for a period of 36 months and shall be subjected to the following conditions of probation. So I want to make clear with you. Let's see if I could put these side by side real quick. Yes, I can. Remember how I told you guys? Oh, I don't like that. Okay. Remember how I told you guys to pay attention to the penal codes right here? These penal codes is basically these. This is how I basically found out what packets Douglas Hanson charged to me. Because if you read, the defendant is sentenced to supervised probation for a period of 36 months and she'll be subjected to the following conditions of probation. The defendant is subjected to the following general conditions of probation. Oregon Revised Statute Codes 540. Not to use or possess controlled substance except pursuant to a medical prescription. But they arrested me for that. They actually charged me for my own prescribed medication. So what you have to do is look at these codes right here. Douglas Hanson ain't gonna put B BIPG. He ain't gonna cause he don't know all the codes. He don't know all these codes off the top of his head, but he basically dragged this over there, like the little notes tabs. He basically dragged it over there and made it a tab. I'm not gonna go through all that to show you how he did it, but it's on there. Do not have contact with the victim without written. Hold on, this is a Marion County probation packet, which I'm not under because I refuse to sign any of his paperwork. I refuse to do any of it. I was like, y'all can't show me who to stay away from and this, that, and the other. I ain't signing nothing. I'm not agreeing with this. So do not have contact with the victim without waiver of compliance with treatment or court or probation officer permission. Do not use, possess alcohol, intoxication. You will see all of this is listed in here. Let's see where it say pay court fines and fees. And some of the codes are still the same. But what I'm saying is he threw every packet at me. He threw every single packet at me. He stole away my preliminary hearings just to label me a sex offender and cause me to go through all of this. When I find an example, I'll do a text by it. If recommended by supervising officers, successfully complete a sex offender treatment program approved by the sex offender and submit the polygraph examination as directed of the sex offender. If the probationer A is under supervision for a sex crime and I'm not what I want to do real quick is to show you that I'm not charged with none of those. I'll do it. I'll show you in the indictment, but I'm going to use the information sheet. I'm going to use this information sheet real quick. Because if you look, the above named defendant is accused by Walter Biglow, District Attorney from the County of Marion, on information. What I'm looking for is the promoting prostitution charge, right? The Oregon Revised Statute Code is 167.012. If you look right here, it says A is under supervision for a sex crime under. You won't see under the penal codes. Under those penal codes, it's not matching to the promoting prostitution. Participate in a mental health evaluation. Let's get back to, because he have to put in these codes right here. These is what the codes is, and he basically. I wonder if I had it where I entered in the codes. I didn't. I got one where I enter in all the codes on the side. Of what he did to me. So when you see, okay, I'll get it. So you'll see that I'm writing, right? And I'm saying what Douglas Hanson is doing on each packet that he, get back up here. right here. The courts find substantial and compelling reason for downward disposition or departure as stated on record. The departure is presumed to the following mitigating and aggravating factors. He never put none. He never put any. Trying to see. I don't want to play my court audio transcripts. What's wrong there? Normally I see it. Okay, you'll see it right here. Do not have contact with the victim. Okay. So let's just use that one. You see me move? Oh, no. You see that code? There's supposed to be a code right there. And what we're going to use is Douglas Hanson caps. So it should be basically right there, that code. And so what I was doing is trying to figure out all these little dots. Report immediately to Marion County Sheriff's. Enter into and successfully complete approved treatment program for sex offenders as directed by your probation officer. So I synced that code somewhere. What we'll do is go all the way down here. Some of the codes ain't even in there, so I filled it in. But I think there's a sex offender packet here, because you see how it says mental health bench probation. What we're looking for is this he put me on supervised probation through the probation office of Department of Community Justice. This is mental health. Hold on. Financial packet. What's in a financial packet? He basically did me in. Here we go. So right here, where it says enter in and successfully complete, approve, enter in and successfully complete as directed by probation officer therapist. So what we do is come right here to this text again, line it up to right there, all caps on, and this basically S-O-T P is for that one right there. And you will now see where I'm getting. You will see all this packet. Let's see what else is in here that we can participate in a substance abuse evaluation. Is that in here? Oh, this one is in here. Make a full, complete disclosure of prior victims. Okay, so you go to the text again. As a matter of fact, while I'm doing this, I should keep these tabs on here. I'm willing to save these. What I'm doing is entering in the codes that Douglas Hanson did not enter in, so people can't find the codes. Like when you say, where did Douglas Hanson get this from? That's what I was thinking to myself. Like, how can this man do that? And you will see that the code is right here for the Marion County Circuit Court probation packet. He gave me a sex offender packet, right? Not only that, he threw basically everything that they had to offer at me. He threw it. Report immediately to Marion County. I think that was on here too. It should be. We gotta find these two right here. Report immediately to Marion County Sheriff's Office, Parole and Probation. I seen that. I just seen it. Which is right here. So I'm gonna basically put in RPCC. Comply with conditions listed in count 1. I don't know where that's at. I don't know where that penal code is. We'll see if it is on there. So we'll be moving to the next page. But I wish I could find that, but I ain't gonna spend a lot of time on that. So, and there's more. Participate in substance. So you gotta go back up to here. And you gotta see where he's at. Participate in substance. And you come down and bring it. Obviously, I can't do it in that one. Do me, baby. Do the Humpty Hump. Doing the Humpty Hump. Do me, baby. Participate. So DRTP. Submit to random blood, breath, urine test, directions of the court or probation. Right here. So I really don't like doing this, but I'm on. You get it. It's going in order right now. I should have kept these tabs black and not red. Man, I'm doing it all wrong right now. Do not have contact with you anymore. I think I'm gonna leave these on there too, cause I'm not finna constantly put in the codes that Douglas Hanson didn't even put in. He was supposed to put these codes in there. What I'm showing. What I'm showing is he just basically threw the whole law at me. He don't care about nothing. All I do it is because I'm tired. Do not have direct contact. Sorry, I'm just taking my time doing this. I'm writing in the I'm writing in these codes real quick. Then I can better explain it. Let me do this. I don't know why let me do this way. So that one will be M. That one will be RS. RS3M. Zero. Avoid. Nowhere in the sex offender packet does it says that the prosecutor is allowed to give permission to the defendant to have contact with the victim. There's no way. There's no way. You seen what I just did. I just went and this says comply with count listed in count one. I don't know about that one. But what I do know is that he charged me under probation. He put those penal codes, the sex offender packet. He charged me with all these penal codes right here. You see them on the side right here. I'll go ahead and put them in. But if you come down right here, it says defendant may have contact with Jessica Johnson, his children, and children within his immediate family. Let's give you guys some truth here about why Douglas Hanson couldn't have had done that, because Julian Fisher claimed that Douglas Hanson didn't have the jurisdiction to do that. You see this part?
I've already offered him the chance to plead to both of the counts, to do probation, not go to prison for a very long time. And I told his lawyer that he could have immediate contact with you, immediate contact with your kids.
How, when I'm a victim? If I'm a victim, how are you supposed to have contact with me? Look, this is...
The motion to show cause was filed.
You see that right there? Where Douglas Hanson said he the one that did this. So he's the one, not Susan Tripp, not the courts. He's the one that told my wife this. So this is being orchestrated by Douglas Hanson himself. And I keep on playing this to give y'all...
I've already offered him the chance to plead to both of the counts, to do probation, not go to prison for a very long time. And I told his lawyer that he could have immediate contact with you, immediate contact with your kids.
How, when I'm a victim? If I'm a victim, how are you supposed to have contact with me? Look, this is what I'm saying. You're the one that's getting yourself caught up, because Demetrius can't have no type of contact with me if I'm a victim. And he compelled and prostituted me and took me over state line and have domestic violence. Matthew and I don't have any domestic violence on us. We don't argue and
That's
fight.
one of the reasons why I said I was fine with him having immediate contact.
But what about sex offender? He's got kids. How can he be around his kids if you're trying to make him do sex offender standards?
Well, if you listen to me, I said that he would have immediate contact with the kids. He's not, based on the sex crime that this is, which is promoting you, I have no reason to believe that he's a danger to children. So that's why I was fine with him having contact with the kids.
But he's still got to be a sex offender?
That he wouldn't necessarily have to do, quote, sex offender treatment.
Which I never did. It's proven that Douglas Hanson, he stole away my preliminary hearing, and he knew I busted him up. So what he tried to do is give me a way out by allowing me to be with my wife and children. I never did anything to harm or hurt my children or my wife. So there's no way that is a part of the Marion County packet. So this is for the first packet. Now it's 7 pages, guys. Remind you that it's 7 pages of this crap. Did I just do that? Oh, that's not all of them. Oh, yeah, so I got to go back up here to. So I see what I did here is the probation for count 2 promoting prostitution. I then got to go back and find the same penal codes for the second charge right here. We'll call this the second charge, which is delivery of oxycodone within 1,000 feet. But I am going to be taking a break. I'll still live stream this. Okay, so what kind of probation terms did Douglas Hanson give me for delivery of oxycodone within 1,000 feet? Delivery of oxycodone within 1,000 feet of a school is a Class A felony and on or about May 16th. Conviction based upon no contest pleads. Crime severity. The courts find substantial and compelling reasons for a downward departure. As stated on record, the departure is pursuant to the following aggravating or mitigating factors. There's none. He just wrote stipulated by party, and what I do right there is I'll take that same sign and I put void out right there because I never stipulated to any of Douglas Hanson's crap. There you have that right there. And we get into this. He suspend my license, so pay. So now what we have to do is, did he give me a DV bench probation? Yes, he did. Enter and successfully complete batter and invention. I think he did. We gonna go down these. Do not have contact with the victim. Let's see if that case is in here. Let's just go down these penal codes. The codes right here to add to here like I did with the promoting prostitution. Pay fines and fee. Is that any on here? We gotta look because I know he gave me that. Pay fines and fees and restitution or other fees ordered by the court. Not use or possess controlled substance except pursuant to medical prescription. Submit testing for. So this gotta be a drug packet. Okay, there it go right here. So again, what we do is come here. I'm gonna do, oops. I'm gonna go like this. I'll get a couple of these over here. I am so bored. That's why I'm doing this. I don't have nothing else to do. Somebody come save me. I'm broke. It ain't even a joke how broke I am. Let's do these first 5 right here. PIPG. Says not to use or possess. See, that one is there. No, that's the wrong one. That's not it. Some of these is on here. I know it. Let me fill a text in. Dang. Grab this. What did I get myself into? After I'm done putting these codes in, I'm going to end my live to take a break. I need a break. For sure. I need a break. I gotta figure out how to bring more of an audience, man, to this. You'll see me putting in these for the first page. See, I've seen that one. I seen that. Like right there, I seen that one. So that's you'll see me taken from a DV, bench probation, right? What else? Up here in court. I have to get through these codes. These codes are so boring to do. I did them. I wrote them out, but I can't remember. I'm trying to cheat real quick. Even though they in my face right here, I don't even have to do that. Dang it. Can't remember what I did with those codes. Information is just sucking me up, man. I'm stuck with manually doing these things when I done read them. Hey, man. I have to. Yeah, I gotta enter all those codes. Oh my God, I'm stuck on this. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this and y'all have to watch me do it. But I'm not doing nothing else. And what I'm figuring out is the DV codes. There gotta be codes up in here in terms of successfully completed. See it, I just point to it and put the code in right there. Ooh, this is so irritating. I'm just gonna get through it. And now to be right here under the DV grant. Under the DV bench probation. Do not possess. Do not possess. No, that ain't it. Do not enter into bars or taverns or liquor stores. Let's put that one right here since I found it. And it's right here at NEBT. Where is he getting these penal codes from? It consists of a lot of reading because he picked and chose what packets, but basically he threw the whole packet at me. I think that one is down here. Let's look at some more package. I think I gotta look in over here. I am not gonna finish this. I'm like getting irritated just reading this. I have to. I'm so determined. I gotta figure out what package that he got this shit from, and I wrote it down. Fines and fees and restitution. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, he for sure gave me DV condition. It gotta be under a drug packet. It gotta be under a drug packet that he gave me this, and I'm keep on looking and looking and searching. This dude is just so, man, he just, man. I could just, man. I gotta watch what I say while I'm on here. All these do nots.
Honestly.
So he gave me a DUI packet. What? And he, man, I just don't understand why he did this shit to me. I don't understand why this man hated me so much that he charged me with shit that didn't have nothing to do with the case. Just mad right now. Just sometimes I'm just finna just do it and get it over with. Cause when I go back into time and talk about this, at least it's gonna be done. Y'all seeing the irritation kick in on this. Participate in alcohol evaluation. See, it says it right there. Participate in substance abuse evaluation and successfully complete any treatment. So that one go right here. I love you, Tristan.
Oh, this will be fast. Bruh. That's it. No.
I didn't have to do this. Attend and successfully complete a victim impact panel. One day. Who's my victim? That's what I'm saying. I don't have that. Do not enter into bars or tavern or liquor stores. That should be on here. He didn't get it from the DUI packet. So he just taking, picking, choosing what he want to do, man.
Faster.
Let's go down to a drug bench probation, because it should say so. This one is wrong. I put the wrong code in for that one. DRP. It's for that one. Here you go, a drug bench probation. Report immediately to Marion County. Nope, that's not in there. I know where that. I'll come back to that one. Do not have content. Submit to risk assessment. Do not have contact with anyone who possesses. There you go. Maybe that's under on the drug case. On your drug case judgment, you got me submit to polygraph examination. I think that will be under the sex offender packet. Let's see, where's the sex offender packet? Ah, man. Man basically threw the whole book at me, bro. I will never stand a chance. He put gang. He just did me in, man. Okay, what I'm looking for here. Submit to polygraph. See, this is the sex offender. Commit to random breath in urine testing as directed of the court or probation officer. Where is he getting all this from? Submit to testing for controlled substance or alcohol use if probation has history of substance abuse. I'm in a sex offender packet looking for information. What is this information? Let me look up here real quick. You see how difficult this is and how long it takes and how much reading it consists of. What I'm trying to do is put the penal codes to these dots right here. And I'm working on count 1, delivery of an oxycodone to the dots of feet, probation, pay. What? So let's just do it like this. See if we could. Man, I'm just irritated. This shit is so irritating to me, man. I don't want to not finish this. This time is eating me up.
You cannot do this now.
That's funny how I'm struggling with putting these penal codes in.
Let's type in
I put all those penal codes in.
that's how you skills.
You know what? I'm just gonna not do the codes until I'm ready to do them. This is so irritating. Cause he put too much on me, man. I'm gonna do this for another. Douglas Hanson is a punk, man. Swear to God, man. If they don't do something about him, man. God, somebody need to stop this fool from doing what he did to me, man. I gotta make sure I take all this off. I spent too much time on bogus ass Douglas Hanson and his illegal shit. Fuck.